morning show. My name is Sixtus Dong Ulo, producer of the show. But when you hear the voice of the producer taking over the saddle, then you know that the spirit is in control. Joined in by the gentlemen, William Esiedu of Current Memory, and the biter himself, Johnny Hughes. Good morning, gentlemen. You look bright.
Thing is that Apollo is hitting, and yesterday, because I interacted with Helen, I'm sure I got a cold as well. Yeah.
So you are accusing Helen of spreading Apollo to you?
I'm just the Apollo. I think it's from one of the politicians, because yesterday I shook a lot of.
3FM 92.
Yesterday a lot of politicians got here.
But
So yesterday
none of those who came around.
My eyes actually got very red. Yeah. So I went to the doctor and I got this. That's my Apollo. He said what?
I'm not sure.
Exosin
head of station, Lois, if you are listening, the rest of us on the morning shift, we are not safe.
Exosin oflocasin.
It's okay.
3 mg something.
In fact, I can't even look into his eyes.
Yes, and then I was giving Avamis as well for my cold. So I'm carrying bullets in my pocket.
But you are here.
Yeah, I had to be here.
For the sake of the people.
Well,
William Esiedu. Editor one. He's also got blisters all over his legs.
The pressure is massive.
What's happening?
the team is
What's happening?
The team is
Forgotten
down.
country, Charlie.
Yeah, man.
It's on.
Anyway,
But first of all, let's talk to Felicity. Let's ask Felicity how the weather looks like this morning. Hi, Felicity.
very important.
Hello.
Good morning to you. How are you doing?
I am better today than yesterday. What about you?
I'm fine. Today you're hearing a different voice on the bridge.
Yes. I think is it Kobe?
Well, COVID is almost gone, but there are other troubles.
Oh, okay. Now I'm asking if it's Kobina.
No, this is Sixtus.
Oh, okay. That's a COVID. We thank God it's thing of the past now.
Yes. So let's see what does the weather look like for the day. What are we to expect?
Yes, thanks so much and good morning to our dear viewers and listeners. For today, it's going to be a bit calmer in terms of rain and other things compared to yesterday. We don't expect much activities this morning. Just a few clouds in the sky over most portions, but part of Greater Accra, Central and Western region, we expect some clouds that will bring in slight rain or just some slight rain over these areas by mid-morning to give way to partly cloudy conditions. And those in the Savannah region and parts of the northern region too, we had some rainstorm over there throughout the night. We also expect it by mid-morning into the midday to also fizzle out to give way to cloudiness. Then later the sun will shine through. And then to continue to be partly cloudy. And then by late afternoon into the evening, that's when we expect some localized development of rain and thunder over the eastern part of Ashanti and then part of the Volta region, including the northern sector. But it's not going to be on a wider scale. If there will be a change, we'll definitely update you with our afternoon and then the evening forecast. In terms of the state of the sea, it's still expected to be rough, but it's not every area that will be rough. So fisher folks should be mindful when they are on the sea. The Volta Lake is pretty cool for activities this morning. By late afternoon, those that are around the Fon area into Pando area, they have to be a bit careful. Once the clouds are gathering and it's becoming darker and the wind starts picking up, then for sure the clouds has matured to result into rain with possible thunder. So in terms of temperatures, it's going to range between 31 and 35 across the 16 regions.
Thank you so much, Felicity. At least we are encouraged, and we know that we are not going to have the kind of downpour we saw on Friday, so we can be rest assured, right?
Yes, you can rest assured.
Thank you so much. And back in studio, gentlemen, let's look at what the newspapers are saying.
Here we go, y'all. Sing a little message out to those of y'all who feel like you're struggling. Yeah, it's a simple song. Yesterday.
Public health safety, FDA to clamp down on media over promotion of unapproved medicines. Also on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, 38th National Farmers Day to be held in Western Region, and Ghana to save $2 billion in 2023 from external debt service suspension. This is coming from BOG Governor Dr. Addison. They are mobilizing heat under him, but he's still giving us some assurances and some hope. On page 3, as captured on the front page of the paper, you would find a story on a police chase man for allegedly poisoning his girlfriend to death. On the back page of that paper, we have Sanitation Minister task MMDAs to sanction non-performing waste collectors. And maybe we'll start asking the questions about the beach, the waste at the beach,
Right.
who is responsible and whether they should also be sanctioned. And GWCL rehabilitates 500 meters of Wongtema pipelines. That's what we have on the front page and back page of the Ghanaian Times. Now, on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper, Ghana's favorite newspaper, it says, "Stay focused, we will win." And this is coming from Dr. Baumia. And also, Kojo Poku endorses VIP. Page 3 of the paper carries that story. And Ken launches donation platform. You would find that on page 6 of the paper. And still on the front page, you find a story. Mahama girl trolled over car bribe comment. And it comes with a picture of a very cute car embossed with the insignia of the NDC.
Okay.
On the back page, full of some exciting sports story. Osimhen agent threatens Napoli over social media mocking. Ramos home robs family and head. That's the footballer. Comes with a beautiful picture of the family of the footballer. And some story that we'll be interested in: Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda to host 2027 AFCON tournament. When are we hosting? When is Ghana hosting? So that's what we have on the front page and back page of the Daily Guide. Gentlemen.
Well, the Daily Graphic this morning says 400 school children stranded, rainstorm rips off school roof. Also scrap Article 71, it's unfair. The TUC is charging, has a photo of the Dr. Anthony Yalba, his Secretary General of the TUC. Ghana on course for EU timber trade license, says the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo. CJ advocates financial independence of judiciary. On the back page, Old Westconians rally members for development, and GWCL restores water to Eastern Accra and Tema. You know that they had to do some work on the Bong substation. The Daybreak says we are winning 2024. Baumia to party faithful. Military denies land release to La Traditional Council. Well, they held a press conference. Our run government of unity, Alan Chamantin, and heavy storm brewing towards Madam and her airport dodgy business. Who is this Madam? Her photo is there, but her name isn't there. Supreme newspaper says Suyan adolescents to drive holistic development with 300,000 euros boost from the UK's Botnar Foundation. Concerned farmers exposed. Newmont says its media release was full of untruths. And Alan promises to run his government with all as president. Energy Ministry hits back at JJ, and Minority says there was no wrongdoing in GNPC Litasco Phase 6 financing. And we are winning 2024. Baumia instills hope in MPP faithfuls, urges them to stay focused.
On the front page of BNFT, Business and Financial Times, Mineral Income and Investment Fund would invest 300 million Ghana cedis in Adan Songo salt projects, and that is encouraging to Electrochem to list on GSE. Trade with China hits all-time record, and trade war hits local biscuit industry. Banks to fund micro, small-scale industries. That's according to the Chartered Institute of Bankers. Bridging the export-import gap. Cargo consolidation, the best bets. Deploy best fit technologies to create and manage better customer experience. That's according to the BNFT. Business analyst this morning, Ufuriata Lord's giant step towards achieving climate prosperity. We've not released 114 acres of land to La traditional area. That's according to the Ghana Armed Forces. And government to borrow 2.57 billion cedis to refinance maturing bills. Kolebu, dialysis price increase illegal and outrageous. That's according to the minority in parliament. Ghana Feed. This is a new one on the newsstand. You are not a better alternative, NDC to Alancho Martin. Farmers chase Newmont for proof of agreement with its members for compensation. Stay focused, work hard. We are winning 2024 election. Baumia to MPP faithful. We will fight for a financially independent judiciary justice. That's according to the Chief Justice. It's unfair for high-profile criminal cases to drag for years. Yabu Adami laments. That's for you on Ghana Feed.
All right, so let's start over with the Ghanaian Times. Is it the Ghanaian Times? The one talking about the waste management. Will clamp down on waste collectors who are not doing their job, and this is on the back of the story we had on the show yesterday.
Yes, Johnny's Bite.
Johnny's Bite carried that yesterday on the beach. Is it La or Labadi?
So that's
I've had a very
that's the
interesting
Labadi Beach Resort, but the town is called La. Yeah, La.
You recall the conversation we had about the corruption of the name of the town. This was on Nkrumah Day.
That's right. We have done this. I mean, so the call to clamp down on these, I'd like to call them itinerant rubbish collectors. They are filling in the gap for the authorities because, number one, you go to many of the places, for example, the La Beach or the Labadi Beach Resort, as it's so called. You go into that place and you ask yourself, where exactly is their sanitary site? Do they have a designated sanitary site, which is the job of the assembly so to provide and to supervise, because there's the municipal health officer, Mehu, as they call the person. So you ask the question whether or not they have something like that there, and it's all across. I grew up in Abosuka, I grew up in Kanishi, some parts of Newtown, Cantonment, and so if you like, say Accra. If you go to a place like Kanishi, the Kanishi number 1 estates, Kanishi number 2, number 3 estates. Presently, there's no place of, they don't have a sanitary site where people can pick their rubbish and then go and dump there, because they're supposed to be under a certain arrangement with one of the 16 or so waste management companies that have to come to their homes every now and then come and pick their rubbish. But we all know the challenges with that arrangement, because sometimes for 2 weeks, your rubbish is there. I mean, they're supposed to appear at least once every week, but sometimes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, your rubbish is there, it's not being collected. Now, out of frustration and because the stench and everything else, because we box everything together, you will be forced to use these itinerant rubbish collectors on their tricycles, or aboboya as they call it. Some of them pick this rubbish, and then they don't go straight to a sanitary site or an assembly point where they can go and drop this refuse. They just sometimes drop it by the side of the road. So they have taken your money. You assume that
there was a point at which they also complained about the cost involved in getting to the designated dumping sites.
Right.
And a lot of them said they couldn't get there even when they managed to get to the designated dumping sites. The cost involved in discharging whatever waste they had conveyed there. So I think the problem really should be looked at holistically. First, from the dumping sites, what's the nature, the status of the dumping sites? We know that some had to be forcefully closed down because management was poor. So And if somebody is carrying
Waste,
bola from one end of the town, and you have to drive all the way to another end of the town.
Right.
And a lot of the times we see these abobayas on the road carrying
in
them,
in the speed lane without lights.
Without lights, spilling the waste on the road.
Right.
So all of those are issues that I think that we need to look at.
I honestly don't know why up until now and at 6:41 in Ghana, in the 21st century, with all the conversation about the SDGs and all the climate conversations we've been having, I don't know why we still want to have landfill sites. Because countries are making cash out of trash. Where are recycling plants? We set out a law that we have environmental excise tax. We deduct from both the polluters and producers, all right? A certain 10% that is there they have to pay. And we said we're going to use those monies to set up refineries, recycling plants. Where are they? Apart from the ones that Zoom Lion has, can Ghana as a country boast that this is our own recycling plant that we have set out based on the deductions we have made and the fees we have charged these producers and polluters alike? And we've said that this is what we have to show for it.
Priorities.
Because you're looking at plastic waste. We import more than 1 million plastic waste in a month into this country, right? In terms of the PET bottles, the small bottles that we use for all this cola, that cola, this ginger, that ginger, this, all of those products that we all those bottles, where do they go? How do we recycle them? How do we try and re-engineer so that they don't become a burden onto us?
We started off with waste segregation at the home level,
but it doesn't work. You know why?
It doesn't.
For me, I try and segregate my waste. I buy sachet water, I drink, I put it in the sachet water bag. I buy bottled water, I drink, I put it in the box. Okay? So at any point when the waste collectors come, a waste management company, I give it to them separately. Guess what? They put everything together.
Wholesale.
Yes. So
into the truck.
my cassava peels, my plantain peels, my yam peels, my orange peels, my coconut husk, everything else. I try and
go in together with the sachet.
Yes, because I know that cassava, plantain at some point it will decompose and join and merge with the soil. Even if we don't want to recycle. But when you come and you put everything, sardine tins, everything together, what have you done? There's no point trying to disintegrate my bola.
This morning, I will just sum up in one line. We are not intentional about anything. I mean, for you to mop up the waste in your system and declare a year of sanitation, a month of this, 100 days, I'll clear the filter. It's not just slogan. There must be an intentional direction. This is science, because waste management is science. Where's the technology to handle the waste that we are generating in our cities, in our homes, and in our towns? So there's no technology here. Zoom Lion is trying. Recently, I heard that they are even taking their trucks abroad to turn them into electric vehicles. That's intentional. They are looking at the future. Korle Lagoon has been there for years, since the turn of the Fourth Republic. Every government that comes makes it a point that they are going to desilt it, make it this, they even have big plans, but nothing happens. Recently, we heard that there was about some 43 or 48 million World Bank money for water and sanitation in Ghana. What happened to that? What's the project? I think these are some of the things that we should be following and be giving the public some sneak peek into what is happening, just not what the politicians will tell us.
We are not intentional.
Well, I think that was the reason for setting up a whole sanitation and water resources ministry. Because, I mean, the water resources have been always under works, right? Yes. Is that not the case? Yes. Then we decided that we're going to create a whole ministry for it to have a focus. This government told us that we're going to have sanitation marshals. Remember that? Kofi Adda, the late Kofi Adda. We set up a whole thing, sanitation marshals at every ministry. Can we go back to the ministries, department, and agencies, even the sanitation ministry, and ask them where their sanitation marshals are? We voted over 200 million in that conversation at the State House. We held the Bola meeting in an air-conditioned room.
Thank you.
With people wearing suits and gente. The people who actually later were not part of that stakeholder engagement.
But it's fair to say that there's a lot of confusion about waste management in this country, whose job it is, particularly at certain places. And I'm saying this on the back of the conversation that we had yesterday.
Right.
Whose job it is to take care of waste management at certain places. If you go outside the public offices at the home level, is it entirely the job of the private sector to deploy?
so
I have
since
had
yesterday-
serious
yesterday-
running on with my company, the company that takes care of my
Your
waste.
waste, yeah.
For weeks they won't show.
Yes.
They
so
won't
you are
show.
forced to use the boboya.
And in fact, when you see them, you are when they show up, it is the
They're bringing
revenue
the bill.
collector.
They're bringing the bill.
with a bill asking you, Charlie, how far this
gave
month?
Who gave them the license to collect your bill? A certain institution.
Institution
The
there,
assembly.
yeah.
Are they supervising them?
So the
Do they
assemblies.
even care about the?
No, but you see, that's the point I'm making about the confusion over who should do
there's
what
no
where.
confusion. The local assemblies, the district assemblies are supposed to do this.
No,
so
William.
when they come around and the dustbins are sitting all over the community, everybody's dustbin is full and it's in front of. They should be able to.
But William, you know,
Dude,
I had an interaction. I think that the ministry. So this was under the Ministry of Local Government, right? The refuse collection. So that's where the confusion is, because the governance structure within that sector itself is so checkered. The Ministry of Local Government is supposed to handle this. That's where the assemblies come through. But then the contract that engages the waste management companies is signed at source from the ministry in Accra. And then they are supposed to be disintegrated and send people across. So now I am not a party to this signatory. I don't know what has gone into the contract. But I'm there as an assembly, and then a G Waste or Stanley Owusu is brought to me that he's supposed to be responsible for the catchment area. Now, as an assembly, you have already disadvantaged me because I don't know, I didn't sign the contract with the person. I don't have direct authority over the person, but the person is supposed to be working within my jurisdiction to manage affairs. Then, as an assembly, I have a bylaw that gives me the authority to manage waste of all sorts, liquid waste, solid waste, blah, 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 blah waste. So the politician creates problems for us and then turns around to say, oh, let's work together to keep the cities clean.
Stakeholder engagement.
The bylaw has given the local authorities the power to maintain good sanitation in their localities. Whatever contract you sign, it is between. But when I come as an assembly, and you are keeping my vicinity or environment dirty, I will deal with you on that level.
No, you cannot do it.
Why?
William, you cannot do
because
it.
the contract did not ask you to be leaving your
William,
dustbins in my locality.
So if
William, you can't do that.
if the waste management company responsible for my area
Yes.
fails or refuses to come pick up the waste,
the assembly sues. Assemblies use the local.
assembly-
They do.
should I deal with the company or deal with the assembly?
You deal with the company,
But
because they have brought the dustbins there, and then then whoever gave them the contract will deal with the rest.
William, the
You understand what I'm
assembly,
saying?
the assembly,
Gentlemen, we have to go. We
I know,
have to go.
I know,
But
sorry,
it's only.
sorry,
I
sorry.
think the one thing we can agree on. Time is up for Johnny's bite.
sorry, no, I can give you 1 minute. See, William knows that.
He's giving me 1 minute from Johnny's bite.
William knows that the assemblies cannot sue because you have